we've forgotten the importance of vocational education.
What we knew when we were growing up was I want to be a doctor, I want to be a pilot, I want to be a lawyer. But now,
and if you don't have people that are working, there's no way they are going to eat, because there's a saying I said, there's no food for lazy man.
Yeah, some people, you tell them, how did you learn how to be a graphic designer? They will tell you, I learned myself. Exactly. I just started designing, and okay, I know how to learn carpentry. If government makes provisions for people to showcase their skill, and that is what South Korea is doing in their country, giving students not just vocational programs, but giving them the platform, the infrastructure.
One particular thing I love about Switzerland is that by the time you are done with all this, you as a person who has that vocational education skill, you are not limited to applying for a white collar job.
There's need to bring that balance. Formal is not greater, neither is vocational greater. Bringing the balance would also, bring growth, not just to your person, but to the country.
Hi guys, and welcome to Timeline. My name is Paul, and with me here today is
Jonese.
and also we have
Dennis, it happened.
Dennis!
Dennis.
You did that, my guy.
So a lot of people used to say attack women, and then we've just accepted it, but it's actually it happened.
I wonder what the British will call
Dennis.
it.
Give me. Today
Welcome,
we're talking
Dennis.
about vocational education. Vocational education is also known as technical and vocational education and training, TVET. It is one that trains people, not just in the formal settings of education, but also train them to be skilled in one profession or the other, like construction, coding in some cases, house making, housekeeping, all of these things here and there. That is what it talks about. According to UNESCO, 68 million students enrolled for vocational education in 2020. And although these numbers are increasing in Europe and places places like Asia, Africa in contrast still sees slow growth in all of these regions. And this is where we're at now. And it's important that we also know that at this point where we are, especially in places like Africa, we need vocational education. And the very first reason is because of the unemployment rates here in Africa.
Yes, thank you so much, Paul. Like, the growing need for this particular vocational education is very, very important in the aspect of youth unemployment. You see that a lot of youths are unemployed in different countries, not only in Africa as a continent.
I mean, at the moment, the World Bank says that it's about 12.7% of unemployed youths here in Africa, while the remaining are underemployed.
So you can see that we're actually suffering from unemployment and underemployment. So it's in fact, everybody is having different shades of their own problem. So I think the importance of this vocational education is that by the time it comes into existence, it tends to sweep away the garment or sweep away the atmosphere of unemployment amongst youth and bring in skilled labor personnel, because vocational education is all about you having a skill, a specific skill that you can actually thrive in a particular company or different companies.
Exactly.
So unemployment is one major thing that vocational education is very, very important.
And then if we even look at it very closely, you would see that some of these things, like you said, like unemployment and the rest, is usually, we can always fault it back to, back then in the traditional parts where, they focus more on the academics and they did not, because now they did not prioritize vocational programs. They saw it as, then you could tell your parents that I want to learn. I'm like, no. Go to school, study, do the mathematics, do the English, and do
the
all
theory
that
part
stuff.
of it.
And before now, vocational education was something that was additional. It was additional to your formal education.
Sometimes
It
you
was
don't
very
even see
exactly.
it.
It was optional.
Sometimes they don't even have these things, and then there was always this stigma towards vocational education, and then some people went to school. The Nigeria, for example, the Nigeria of then is not the same Nigeria of now.
Yeah.
Then you could use your certificate to get something, but now your certificate is just okay. You have a certificate.
Everybody has
you have
it.
a
Yes.
skill.
Exactly.
Do you have that vocational skill to help you to do that? So that stigma has always been there right from start, especially in Africa, because tracing back to the colonial system, and when they came to colonize us, we always prioritized education, formal education as a thing. But seeing the advancement, seeing the growth in technology, the digitization and the world now, the artificial intelligence, and where the world is heading to now, you know that your certificate, your academic stuff is not even enough. You need those skills. You need those vocational programs to strive.
Like with unemployment, right? It's another thing again that would show face, right, is poverty, because once there's high number of people in society without jobs, it's expected that we see that people would begin to need money. People would begin to how do I put it now? There won't be money in the land basically, because
Definitely.
People become very poor.
Exactly, the purchase power of people in society will become very low because they don't have enough money to buy anything. And where do they get money from? If you don't work, you cannot
can't eat.
eat. I mean, they're saying that there's no food for a lazy man. So basically, if you are not working, I mean, we're saying that there's the high rate of employment, right? Of unemployment. If we're saying that, meaning that there's a very, very high number of people that are not working at the moment.
Yeah.
And if you don't have people that are working, there's no way they are going to eat, because there's the saying I said, there's no food for lazy man. Another thing again is that at the moment now, we'll see a very crazy shift, right, in several sectors. You mentioned earlier that before now, all you just had to do to get a job was to go to school, get a university,
get a
first degree
certificate.
itself. In fact, for some people, it was just ND, just from or OND.
Yes,
I mean,
and
if
you
you
get
look
a
at-
good job.
Exactly. If you look at our parents and before them, what are you doing? You hear our government workers, you hear I was a
Exactly.
lawyer, you hear I was a
Yeah.
doctor.
Yeah.
But now, if you look at our age now, and
You
what
have
do
to
you do?
work like times 10 of what they did.
Apart from working time, saying like it's the job sector now is now
Has changed.
has changed totally.
Yes.
I mean, now we have new jobs surfacing online. We have jobs
You have-
that are done remotely. There's
Yeah.
now
Yes.
social media marketing, social
There's
media.
coder, what do they call them?
We have the coders. Like
You have the UI UX designers.
Like, all of these things are-
professions
Yeah,
that were
yeah.
never existing before. All we knew when we were growing up was I want to be a doctor, I want to be a
A lawyer.
pilot, I want to be a lawyer. But now,
and all of these things, right, are just it just shows that at the moment now there's a very high demand for skilled labor.
Very.
Meaning that if you are not, it's not. You mentioned that if you are not, it's not about what you have as your certificate. Oh, I went to school, I graduated with the first class, but rather what can you do? Okay, fine. We've done. You went to the best school in the world. You graduated with the first class. What can you do with this your first class now? When you put you behind the machine, can you actually operate it? Okay, maybe you studied mechanical engineering, for example. They take you to the workshop and you don't even know what the radiator is, right? It's funny, but then it happens, right, in our society. Like,
Yeah, I think we've been talking about employment. That's for people to get the skill and work for people. I think another growing need for this is self-entrepreneurship and self-employment. This is where by the time you have these vocational skills, you become a boss of your own, and then you establish yourself
Very
and
true.
empower other people. So this can actually boost your entrepreneurship as a person, and you see yourself beginning to you start up your own business, you go into your own everything that you want to start up, and you invite people to come and learn from you. And from there, by the time people are coming to learn from you, you graduate them and they tend to establish their own. And that's how it keeps going round and keeps going, developing and keeps developing. Let me give you an instance of the fashion designing line. I'm a fashion designer. Everybody knows.
obviously,
Thank you so much. So my boss, as at then, she had, I think, my sets that came in were like around 20 or 25.
Wow.
And when we came in, that was how she started coaching us from the beginning, how to cut straight, how to cut peplon, how to cut a straight skirt and all that. We started going.
I think we're learning already.
Exactly.
I mean, what's
but
peplon?
you will pay, Sha. You ask your wife when you get married. So we started learning that, gradually. And I can tell you, 25 of us, I've become independent.
Yeah.
And I went to one of my like colleagues' shop then, and I saw her shop. I saw her coaching other apprentices,
That's
and I was
it.
like, "This is lovely." She
Exactly.
has her own shop. She has her industrial machines
Now
and all
she's
that.
doing something for herself, and
Exactly,
not just that, she's
and
also
she's-
equipping the society as well. training
Exactly.
more
And I'm
youths
very
on board.
sure that when those girls, or but not only girls, boys and girls are done learning, they'll actually establish themselves. And you see that income will start coming, and this particular angle of poverty will actually be reduced.
So I know, right? Poverty will be reduced, unemployment will be reduced if you can just get on board with this vocational education thing,
Yeah.
talk about it more, try to get more enrollment here in Africa. We're going a short break now. Once we're back, continuing from where we stopped, this is still vocational education on Timeline. We'll be right back.
Every day, amazing stories of hope and tenacity unfold across the globe. On Hued Hour, we dive into these inspiring tales and discuss the vital work being done in the humanitarian and development space. Humanity has never faced a shortage of challenges, yet we rise stronger through teamwork and determination. Though these remedies are often underreported, on Hued Hour, we advocate sustainable solutions. We bring you the latest and most impactful news on how lives are being changed. We engage with young change makers and experts who provide valuable insights into relief efforts and the challenges faced by local communities through a global perspective. Join us every Wednesday by 8 a.m. on Hued Network's YouTube channel as we embark on this journey of positive change.
Hey everyone, let's face it, our world today experiences numerous challenges. And guess what? Our community isn't off the hook either. Most of the world issues are either not talked about enough or never talked about at all. But here on Timeline, we've got you covered. We dive deep into issues that affect us every day, leaving behind footprints of wisdom, knowledge, and solutions. Think of it like a roadmap that keeps you on the track for success. So buckle up, because in this new season of Timeline, we're taking another trip through the past, the present, and navigate into a more promising future. Again, we're talking solutions, people. And let's make one thing clear. This is not your average blah, blah, blah convo. This is real talk with a side of inspiration and a sprinkle of wow. I never thought about it like that. I'm your host on this impactful ride. Together, we'll tackle the tough stuff, laugh a little, and find ourselves on the path to positive change. So what are you waiting for? Season 2 of Timeline will be loaded. Let's get started. Hop in, and let's drive straight into the heart of issues shaping our world. Let's go. Oh, one more thing. Hit that subscribe button and let's take this ride together.
Have you ever been in a space where everyone's talking about complex or complicated issues? It's interesting because if they are complex and complicated, how does everyone know about them if they truly do? It's like your social media feed. Sometimes it feels like just one big puzzle, like a basket of hot takes and wild theories, unverified claims, and those moments that leave your head spinning and spinning. Sometimes you don't know what you're going to find on your phone. Maybe aliens are invading, or the earth is not round, it's actually flat. Okay, those are figments of imagination, but admit it, for a second there, you weren't entirely sure if I was right or wrong, were you? But here's the thing, being confused by all this is normal, but getting to the truth, well, that's about to get a whole lot easier as we unravel things that have been shrouded in mystery and confusion no matter the field. Now on Untangle, we take those complicated and confusing topics swirling around your feed and break them down piece by piece by piece until everything clicks into place. Every week right here alongside alongside an expert in the field, we're going to tackle a topic that's got everyone talking. It could be a viral trend you're not sure about, a scientific concept that keeps popping up, a new law or an event, or one of those stories that just won't go away. No fancy jargon, no unnecessary complexity, just clear, straightforward answers that you can actually use. So join us every Monday by 10 a.m. weekly on Hugh Network's YouTube channel. And when you do, be ready to untangle.
Okay, yeah, welcome back. This is still Timeline, and we're discussing vocational education. Yeah, it's been a lovely one. We've talked about why we would need it in our communities today, why we need it in Africa, why we need it in the world generally. Also, we've discussed how it's of importance. I mean, we talk about how it would reduce what's it called, unemployment rate,
poverty,
exactly, poverty. Right, in growing our economy as well, we need all of these things. But even with all of this, right, vocational education still face a number of challenges. And I think the very first one is inadequate funding. So just unlike some sectors that probably have proper funding, right? Vocational education is one. It is also capital intensive, I must say, because I mean, you can't say that you want to teach someone something and then you're not providing. You want to teach someone how to repair a car. You should obviously would provide a car to that person, right? I'm not saying I give the person a car, right? But probably the person will have a workshop, right? The school will have a workshop or something like that, and then there they'll be going to learn how to repair the car, how to do all of those kind of things. You don't expect that you'll just be using Bible and paper to teach someone and you expect the person to know, but rather it's vocational education is actually very much capital intensive and there is no proper funding going into that. So really that's the major one, because without funds to do something, you can't carry out whatever project that you wish to carry out in the real sense.
It's just like this particular saying that better soup na money kill am. So imagine you gaining this particular training and you going into the labor force and you know giving out what you know. You get huge amount of money. So for you to learn it, you have to like use a lot of money to learn it, to acquire that particular kind of skill. And then when you go out to deliver your work, you see that you have a lot to gain. And I think another one is lack of standardization. And this particular one is the one that really bothers me more because it doesn't have a particular standard, just like the traditional academics that you move from. It's the same curriculum.
The formal education that we have,
the same thing that I go up, you go up and everything. That's what my child is going to learn by the time he grows up. So, but like, it's not stagnant. Everything changes, everything evolves. The way the world is growing, that's how everything is changing. Like a particular company can just come up and say, we want to do this. Like my ex-boyfriend now, Elon Musk, he can actually say that, why are you laughing? Everybody knows.
Everybody knows.
He knows that he can just come up, like wake up one morning and say he wants to create something and, do this. So we need skilled personnel to like, okay, this thing, in case it's spoiled, let us know how to repair it and all that. So there's actually lack of standardization in this particular area.
Like, in the real sense, there's no for other what's it called now, for formal education, they're like standard exams that you write, right? Okay, if you are probably you want to after your secondary education, you write particular exams, and then you know that okay, you've skilled this part, right? But for vocational education, there are no standard exams per se that you would write to probably get into the profession. There's no way to measure what you learned here and what you learned here, because I mean one thing about it is that it's not the same everywhere. I mean, if I should ask you now for what's called quadratic equation, like it's the same thing that you were taught that we were also taught, and also same that was taught. But for vocational education, there are several approaches, right? You were mentioning how to cut clothes before, right? Me, for example, I might have learned with just a projector lights and then the cut will be there, and I'll just take my scissors and then just go and cut it. And then you learned a different way. So there's
hard
no
way.
No, but like all of these things, right? At the end of the day, we all can do it, right?
Okay.
But our methods are different, and there's no way to now come to one and say agree that this one is the real one that we can do, because at the end of the day, there are several ways to achieve that same goal.
This challenge you just mentioned is a very, very important challenge because it also leads to another challenge which I would call the the qualified trainer, yes.
Yeah.
You see, sometimes some people just feel like, okay, I mean, this is wood, yes, I can cut wood, I can do this. But sometimes some people don't know that there are procedures to carry out this thing, like you said, and there's no form of measurement to like know that, okay, I really learned this thing.
Yeah.
I know I'm already good at it. If I meet somebody else outside, it's the same this thing, it's the same this that. So all those qualified trainers, they are really not there. Some people, you tell them, how did you learn how to be a graphic designer? They will tell you, I learned myself.
Exactly.
I just started designing and designing.
I'll just play around
You know,
Photoshop and
when
I
you
make
see
myself.
a trained professional do something and somebody that just, you know that there's
The
a
difference is clear.
You cannot just say for example, you mentioned how your boss was very trained and then she trained about 25 of you.
Yeah.
And you can imagine someone that even have the ability to train 25 apprentices. You know that, okay, this one has the skill, this one is trained at doing that. And you saw your friend that, you know, moved to our own shop and then is even training more people to do that. You cannot just stand up and say, I want to learn how to sew, and then you start sewing by yourself. There are procedures, and that is one of the challenges that they lack in the vocational field, where there are really little or no trained personnel to put others through in that vocational line.
Well, again, apart from the fact that, I mean, I once worked in a technical school, right? And in technical school, it's expected that you have a science part and also the technical part. So usually there are a number of science teachers here and there. But when it comes to the technical departments
Very
now,
few.
there are very few. There are some departments, I mean, where I was in biology, right? I mean, we had more than 10 teachers there in biology. But then in some trade courses, that's what technical courses, right? You just see probably one person taking very large class, you know, and it's not because there's no money to employ more people, but where are even the people that are to be employed, right? And that's because we've forgotten the importance of vocational education in the very first place. Because if we are taking it with what's it called, with so much attention, like when we are taking the formal education, we will have been able, in the real sense, to ensure that we train everybody so that we have qualified teachers to even teach these children. And that thing again, of which you mentioned earlier on, is the thing of stigma. So in countries like
stigma.
In the United States and also in India, right? Vocational education part is seen as a less privileged part. Like, it's seen as a less career option. Like, it's because I cannot perform as good as that. That's why I want to come down to this level, and that's why I want to go into vocational education. I mean, it's important for us to know that at the end of the day, right, two of you, whether you go to a formal education school or you go to a part of vocational education, two of you at the end of the day are going to
the labor force.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You are going to face the same things. You are probably going to apply for the same jobs at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Or if not the same jobs, two of you will need each other one way or the other.
You know the shocking part of it?
Yeah.
Is even the person that even did the vocational education training that will even earn higher. Yes, quote me anywhere. Will earn higher than the person that even went. I'm not saying formal education is wrong or the traditional education is bad. I'm not saying so, but in the way the way we are seeing ourselves right now in this world right now, it is better for you to have the two.
Yes.
It's better for you to have the two. I was having this conversation with I entered a car, literally.
I thought you were going to say Jeff Bezos.
No, we had a cup of tea last night. So as I was saying, I entered a car and this particular woman was the one driving.
Okay.
I was the only one at the front seat, and we had like three persons at the back. So the conversation just started. They are all older than me, actually. So the woman was like, never in her life will she allow her child to go and learn mechanic.
Yeah.
I looked at her. I didn't say anything. The other man at the back was like, yes, that even him too. How will his daughter go and learn tailoring? She had to go to school, study medicine, later kiniko.
Yeah.
And then the other man was like, no, madam, I don't think so. He was not saying that his child will only learn the vocational skills. So there was nobody that was talking about balance. So after they kept on dragging it, then I came in and I said, sorry, please,
Bringing the balance.
To the
do you get?
rescue.
So and I said, please, can I say something? And they were like, yes, young girl, you've been quiet for a long time. So say something since you are the youth here. I said, okay. So I brought the balance. I said, formal education is very important. Vocational education is very important. None of them is less of each of themselves. You that you allow your child to go and learn a vocational skill does not make your child lesser than the one that went to a formal educational, traditional education, whatever. And is not, both of them are still the same. And the way this world is going now, it is even the vocational skilled personnel that the world is looking for. I'm not saying the other one is not good, but both of you should just understand that there should be a balance.
I mean, there's a competition for both parties. Either you're going through the formal education or vocational education. At the end of the day, there's a market for both of you, and there's a market for a fusion of both of them, where you need both formal education and also the vocational education to survive in such places. I mean, I mentioned earlier that in Europe we have successful stories, and some part of Asia as well. There are successful stories there. So I would love that if you could share some of these stories.
Okay, Germany, for example, Euro specifically, they are known to be the world's largest continent with people involved in vocational programs. And according to the European Center for Development of Vocational Training, about 50 to 60 students are enrolled. And there's one beautiful thing about Germany. Yes, Germany adopted this dual system where they both do the normal classroom exercise, and at the same time they have the apprenticeship program. And it will interest you to know that I used to think that before vocational is not maybe just like 20, not more than, but it will surprise you that there are over 230 vocational programs that one can learn. And Germany put this forward to their students, whichever one you want to learn. And that is a very good thing. Like you were saying, that there's need to bring that balance. Formal is not greater, neither is vocational greater. Bringing the balance would also bring growth, not just to your person, but to the country. And that is why you see countries like Europe, continent like Europe, having countries like Germany, Switzerland, Austria, doing better, doing good compared to continents like Africa, compared to even East Asia, East Asia, in South Korea, for example, they have this, the government is fully supporting its citizens. You understand? It's not just about, let's do this. Having the government involved in this vocational program is very, very good. It's very, very essential. I even wanted to say it as one of the challenges that they face. That it's not just having the skill. If these governments make infrastructure available, you understand? Okay, I know how to learn carpentry. If government makes provisions for people to showcase their skill, and that is what South Korea is doing in their country, giving students not just the vocational program, but giving them the platform, the infrastructure to showcase this skill. Are you a mechanic? There are places where you can go to showcase this skill. Are you a carpenter? Are you a creative artist? Are you a culinary artist? There are places to showcase
I mean,
this
for me,
skill.
one of the things that I like about Germany's structure is the fact that it is 60-40, in the sense that as a student that is into vocational education, you have spent 60% of your time in a school where you learn your normal maths, English, and the likes, right? And then after school hours, you were expected to go to a company where you'll be interning, right? And you spend 40% of your time there as well, creating that balance that we
cannot be
discussed.
useless.
Exactly.
Never.
Like either way, and
Never.
at the end of the day, right, is it that you are going with, and once as you are graduating, right, you are graduating with two certificates. The one for the formal school, that's one that everybody has, and then it's also the one of vocational education. So meaning that even from school, right, it just shows. Now this is where we talk about standardization. For this one now, for example, now there's a certificate to show that, this person is a seamstress. Now this person now is a chef, right? This person can do this. Person is a coder. This person is a programmer. All of this, there's a certificate to show for it. Yeah.
So it's now the remaining for the person to just keep upgrading himself, like
on either way, actually.
Exactly.
And that would also reduce unemployment. If you know those challenges we're talking about, that will also reduce. See, poverty. Where does poverty want to come from?
You know the funny thing, Switzerland is not actually even lagging behind in this whole talk.
Okay.
And one particular thing I love about Switzerland is that by the time you are done with all this, you as a person who has that vocational education skill, you are not limited to applying for a white collar job.
Actually.
So you can actually still go to a company like that. You'll be coming to the office every day and be wearing your suits. You'll be going there. You can actually apply for a job and they will give it to you. So that's what is happening in Switzerland, because everything you just mentioned in Germany, that's what is happening in Switzerland. And 2/3 of their students are actually like in the vocational education line. So that's it for Switzerland.
That is all of these stories are just they are very good stories, and it shows that it's time for us to actually embrace vocational education. According to UNESCO, they say that by 2030 it's expected to see the growth of vocational education to increase by 10%. And it might look like a small number, but I mean, I feel like poco a poco, little those little steps, and then tomorrow we'll just find ourselves in a very great path. So I'll take your final recommendations. What would you have advised with this vocational education thing? How should we go about it? How should we create the balance for students?
Well, on my own part, I would say I'm big on the government involvement in this. Though Nigeria is seeing a very good change in vocational
Education.
program, but it's still not enough. Though we have various institutions that help, but the infrastructures, the resources to carry out these things, they are not there. It's not just to have the institution, the federal this for vocational program.